And this will be the part where we get our levels.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, actually, those are healthy looking levels, buddy.
Thank you.
You know what else is healthy looking? Your fucking face.
Oh, it's the beard. It's starting to fill out pretty nicely. As long as it's been.
This is a long beard for you. It grows very flowy.
It grows very straight. Like my facial hair isn't curly, so it just grows in straight lines. And so usually it just gets like almost like poofy because it's just layered on top of each other. But it's gotten to a point now where it's like, oh, well, now it actually looks full versus just looks puffy.
Do you think you'll ever can you keep it going?
I'm going to try. I feel like I've gotten to a good point, so I'm going to try to keep it going.
Yeah.
What I have been doing is I've been trimming like the mustache and then the soul patch
What
area.
a difficult area. It's just so difficult to trim. I struggle. Like sometimes I get rid of my beard like once early in the year and then I redo it again, right?
So out of curiosity, why do you feel like it's difficult? Also, are we recording?
Yeah, of course we're recording.
Okay, cool. Because I want this conversation in here. This is great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, I did what's called the Fibonacci Microni Lacabontatiki technique.
I heard macaroni and tzatziki.
It's the macaroni tzatziki technique where you start recording, but you don't tell your fellow host that you're doing so that way it feels organic. Now, where I messed up, Ty, was telling the truth and saying yes, we're recording.
Oh,
I should have said, nah, man, this is just
no, because you know what would have happened? I would have been
check.
like, let's save it for the podcast. You're like,
yeah, we've had those conversations lately.
You would not believe. Like we're sitting there trying to like tell each other we want to connect, we want to just catch up, and he's like, save it for the podcast.
I know. I feel kind of dickish when that happens.
Let me tell you about my baby. Save it for the podcast.
Yeah. It's like nothing can be authentic anymore.
But going back, I'm curious. Why do you think? Like, is it the mustache or is it the goatee part that you find so hard to trim or to keep?
Okay, so yes, it's the mustache for me.
Okay.
Because it's an area that it's the nose. You're getting right up in there, and for whatever reason, like the sides of the face. I mean, all these have names, by the way. Have you ever looked up beard tutorials?
No.
There's a lot, as there should be, because it's a delicate balance of good versus trash. And I don't want to have a trash beard, so I look up these tutorials shamelessly, and sometimes they work. And there are names for like the intersection where your cheek meets the beard, the outer section where your beard meets the neck, where your mustache meets the outer of the nose, etc., etc. And the nose for me is the thing that just throws everything way the fuck off, man.
Do you want to go into that? Why?
I just feel like it's the shape.
Because like I have...
Like the shape of my nose just kind of like adds a barrier. And when I'm trying to shave, I think it's with a straight razor. It's not so much with like an electric razor.
Okay, fair enough. Why are you using a straight razor to...
Not like a straight razor, but like a fucking razor blade. Like a Bic, but you know, $2 more because I spent money on the brand.
Because it's like I use an electric shaver, and it's an electric beard trimmer. So I very much have like a guard, and then I do that. And what I have to do is, because the shape of my nose gets in the way, I have to actually take off the guard and just like very delicately, artistically trim just the very tips by my nose.
I heard artismally.
I said artistically, but I'll go with artismally.
So you have a charcuterie board while you're shaving.
Yes, and all the hair gets in there and ruins it all, and it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, that's one of the best games you can play. And speaking of games, my friend, we got a couple game shows we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, we do.
And before we do that, my friend, this is the penultimate episode of Season 1.
Yeah, we have one more after this.
This is true, and Ty, it all starts right now. My kitty's now fast asleep, I can pour myself a glass. But too many shows on Netflix are trash, it makes me wanna pass. I can't figure out what to watch, what am I supposed to do? Let's get drunk and rewatch cartoons when we were little dudes. Do 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 do. Whiskeylodeon. Ty, I'm very excited about this glass apparatus you have in front of us for this episode today. My goodness. And I did something I should have done.
Tell me what you should have done.
I should have taken my first sip while we were recording.
I don't think you needed to. Like, I told you, and you didn't want to listen to me, but that's fine because, like you said, this is going to be, you're going to get that same reaction every time you take a sip.
Yeah, I got a listening problem. That's why I talk on podcasts.
I don't take orders from people that aren't my mom.
Yeah, you're not my dad, Ty. Wait a second.
Are you?
Dad? Wow, we've revealed a lot here on this podcast. We just didn't know this is where we would get.
Where's our psychologist? We need that.
I know. We need a part 4. We need a part 12. That's what we almost did, like 3 2-parters this season.
Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous.
We talked about it though, and
yeah,
we said no. We can't have 6 of our episodes out of the 10 be 2-parters.
Yeah, it was just we gotta tighten it, man. We gotta keep it tight.
Keep it tight. We keep it tight. Yeah,
we like our tight nips.
We keep our nips tight, and Ty keeps our drinks pretty tight. And you want to talk about what's happening?
Yes. So I want to go ahead and thank a special listener, Bobby. If you're listening, yes, I'm talking about you. His name isn't really Bobby, but it kind of is.
Is it like a privacy thing?
I don't know. No one knows his last name. But he's a handsome fellow. But anyways,
Handsome Bobby.
He reached out to me and he goes, "Hey, I love that you're talking about whiskey. Can you talk more about whiskey? Because like you, he is learning."
Yes.
So definitely wanted to make this a bit more educational, I guess.
That's fair. And I've had a few listeners reach out and say like the same essentially. Like,
okay,
we like the content. They also want to learn a little bit more about whiskey. Which is helpful for me. Selfishly, I'm like, yes. More feedback like that. Yes, I need it for me. So teach me something, man.
We are going to talk about excuse me, the importance of adding to your whiskey.
And what does that mean, like adding to?
There are basically 4 stages of whiskey you can drink. You can have it neat. You can have it with a splash of water. You can have it on the rocks. And then 4th, you can have it in a cocktail. And so the big thing of adding on the rocks or adding some splash of water does a lot. So typically, you will notice your flavor and your scent is going to be a lot more potent. You're going to get a lot more in-depth of flavor. And there's also like some sciencey shit in it. So turns out the chemical we're talking about is called guaiacol. And so when you introduce a splash of water or you put it on the rocks, it basically takes all the chemicals that are associated with your scent and with the taste and kind of brings it to the top. And so that way when you taste it, it's a lot more potent, I should say. So first off, we have with us today Elijah Craig Straight Rye.
Straight rye.
And it's a banger, man.
It is.
It's a banger.
And Ty, I've learned something about rye these past couple of months. And this time I know we're drinking rye because Ty just confirmed it. So I know that we are indeed drinking Elijah Craig Straight Rye. How'd I do? Am I right so far?
Yeah, so far.
So far, so good. I know that the rye is traditionally spicier on the palate.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
All right.
How'd I do?
So far, so good. I'm going to have you take a sip.
Okay.
Tell me what you taste. Tell me your experience.
All right.
Everything.
I need you to narrate this because we don't want dead air when I'm just sipping whiskey.
So
rye. I'm sorry. Rye.
I mean, rye is a type of whiskey. You're fine. So he starts off trying to smell, but he's also taking a sip. He closes his eyes. He kind of sits there.
Did I do that out of order?
I don't know.
Should I smell it first?
I mean, you can if you want.
Maybe I'll do
go
that.
ahead.
Maybe I'll do
go ahead. He takes a scent. He smells it. His hands up in the air like he's just trying to summon the scent to his nose. And now he's touching his nipples because he is very, very intrigued by this scent. He tries again. He tries even again. I think you can even hear him sniffing, but now he's going in. Oh, he takes that sip. His eyes are closed. His nipples are going from raw to medium well. Oh, right above his areolas, like his buttons are starting to tighten. Oh, his buttons are starting to pop. Ooh.
Ty?
Yes.
I need a seamstress. Ooh.
Tell me what you've smelled. Tell me what you tasted.
Well, again, I don't think hypothesis time. I think the learning that I'm going to do on this podcast is still going to be limited in terms of my vocabulary.
That's fine.
I think I can tell you that
sharing your experience.
It's amazing. It's really good. This is one of the best ryes I've had. The reasoning why, like behind that, that's where it gets hard for me to talk about it. I just know that I'm getting a bigger flavor profile. Like this one makes me feel more present, and I don't want to get like too like metaphor. Like this is the kind of whiskey that will get you feeling present in your pantaloons. But it really begs to be that though. As I'm sure a lot of different whiskeys or ryes or whatever that we want to try will make you do that. It's really delicious.
So do you, what can you taste? And by all means, I'm not trying to be like, if you miss a flavor, you're going to hell.
There's a pepperiness to it.
Yeah.
Maybe some caramel.
Maybe.
Yeah. Again, we're not in video yet, but Ty is a dear friend of mine who will always tell me the truth. And when someone doesn't tell you the truth, they typically their eyes will dart northeast. His did. So I don't think I'm getting caramel, even though I think I am.
No, if you're tasting caramel, that is. So here's what I will say. You will have notes that they're like, hey, this is what you should be tasting.
Okay.
But it's very much an individual thing. So you could be getting something that someone else isn't. And that could just be because that component of your taste bud is stronger or different than someone else's.
We should do a disclaimer here. Again, we're recording in Charlotte, North Carolina, where the pollen this recording season is just outstanding.
Oh, it is top tier.
Yeah, it's top tier bullshit.
Yeah.
I've lived here since I was 7. I'm in my 30s, and I have not found any sort of comfort or immunity to this thing. So with that pollen, you might be able to hear it in my voice right now. A lot of nasaliness. It's hard to smell. In fact, I couldn't hear earlier. We had to do some sound checks. We had some issues, and I'm like, okay, that's what's happening here. So with the whiskey, smell is very important for flavor, or for aroma at least. Mm-hmm. I might be missing something here, but I know that it feels good after I take a few sips. And that's about all I can offer right now.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
But we're about to change the game.
Oh, what do we have to do, Ty?
So we are going to be adding a few splashes of water. And because I was making a big deal about this, Sean wanted to make a big deal of this and make this as complicated as possible. So we have a jar of water.
He's reaching, we can't reach it.
I have short arms. I'm a T-Rex.
Oh,
I have a big head and little arms.
He does. We're gonna talk about T-Rex later.
Yeah. So we are taking a bottle of water and we are pouring it into a bowl.
For no reason. There's no reason
Actually,
for this
there
step.
is an absolute reason, because I forgot a dropper.
No, but we could have. We didn't need the water bottle.
We didn't need the water bottle. You're absolutely right.
We want these steps. It makes for a better podcast.
And so we're each going to take turns taking what is essentially a 1/4 teaspoon of water.
Okay, so he's adding a 1/4 teaspoon of water to his goblet.
And then I'm going to pass the bowl to Sean.
Okay. But you brought 2 1/4 teaspoons of water. Should I use the other one for the sake of...
Well, the other one's 1/8 of a teaspoon, so you'd have to do it twice.
Math.
And I'm going to pass it over to him. He's going to grab it. And his arms are not as short as mine. But now...
I was never really good at basketball as a kid, but I had like a good wingspan. Like my arms are awkwardly longer than they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But so we both give good hugs. You know that, right?
Oh, we give great hugs. So now he's slowly pouring it over. He has put the splash of water in, and we are all set. So he's putting the bowl down very gently, very passionately.
Yeah.
And now he has his glass.
So do I wait? What's the idea here?
You can kind of just slowly swish it if you like.
Okay, we're swishing.
We're swishing. And then take a sip.
I'm going to sip.
Take a sip. And I want you to first smell or sip, doesn't matter. I'm actually getting that caramel now. Tell me what you taste. Tell me the difference.
Everything's a little softer, but not in a bad way. It's kind of like all the flavors have been allowed to spread out more.
Yeah, everything's more pronounced, where it's instead of like being punched in your face hard, it's softened to the point that you can now taste the different flavors.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think one would think water dilutes, which it does. I think scientifically that's true, but in this case, it's doing something completely different, right?
Well, so a couple things. So whiskey has to be at least 40 proof. That means that they have to dilute it at a certain point. And you'll have, and again, proof and percentages, it's just doubling the amount. So it has to be 40% alcohol.
Right.
So they have to dilute it. And then they might have somewhere it's like, oh, well, this is 100 proof, 50%. Oh, this is like 110%, so 55. So water does have a play of diluting, but it also acts as a way of enhancing. So you can kind of think of it almost like salt, where it is kind of bringing stuff out. It's kind of a natural enhancer. So they have to do it so it doesn't kill you, but it also acts as a way to kind of enhance these flavors. So that's why having that splash of water, or just having an ice cube or two, or just having like that huge block of ice that just slowly melts, it just allows your whiskey to open up, to soften, as you said, but to give you more opportunity to try the different flavors in this elixir of life.
Beautifully said. The whole time you're talking, I'm doing something that annoys me a lot, which is thinking about what I'm going to say next. I'm thinking about this idea. You have to help me with this.
Okay.
Because you said something that reminded me of this. And even in my mind, I'm like, maybe I'll pause the podcast to look this up, and then we'll just do an edit. But I'm going to have Ty help me here. The idea in the universe, or even as small as, you can't take salt out of something. Everything gets mixed up and more complicated over time. And I know it starts with an E, and we have no idea what this is.
Are you talking about integration that starts with an I? Or are you talking about, I guess, help me understand what you're trying to say. Because there's emulsify, where everything is coming together. There is...
It's this idea that you can't really undo messing things up, or mixing things around. In the universe itself, it just keeps expanding and getting more messy. So to reverse that, it starts with an E, and our listeners right now are like, wow, you're stupid. It's this, you dum-dum.
Well, while I am explaining why I'm going to come into a disagreement, I'm going to have you be able to take a look at that, because Kevin got fired. So from a food perspective, if you add too much salt, there are ways to deal with that, where you can add...
Entropy.
Entropy.
And I want to point out that I started typing it. I didn't see it. Actually came to me naturally.
Okay.
This is making for great podcast, Ty.
Oh, this is prime. This is prime time.
Tell your friends about this.
Yes. If you are loving this podcast, tell your friends.
If you want two dudes drinking whiskey, talking about the whiskey, and talking about random definitions such as entropy, and such as slurring definitions such as drifting, then please find us wherever you get your podcast. And again, give us at least a 2-star rating.
But yeah, so like you could add sugar, you could add an acid. Like there's different ways you could add to kind of counterbalance how much salt you put in. I mean, there's a way to be able to do it without diluting the other flavors. But also, like, if you're white listening to this, please season your food. Add some salt, man.
Yeah. Ty, did you ever eat sugar cubes as a kid?
No, but I will tell you the experience I had with sugar cubes. I was in...
Is it sexual? Is it violent?
It could have been both.
Okay.
So I was on a bachelor party with my friend Chris, and we went to a speakeasy. And so, of course, they had these drinks with this particular liqueur made of wormwood.
Oh yeah, we hear Ty's making a face
because I'm hearing something.
Oh, it's Ziggy Sebastius outside the podcast room, and he is just chewing on his toy right now because he wants to be in here, but we can't let him in because he'll just be in here chewing on the toy.
Fair enough.
So we'll just have to allow that to be our background noise with the train.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I got a little distracted, but we're at the speakeasy where they had a bunch of these absinthe cocktails. And so...
You said absinthe?
Absinthe,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So I got to try some absinthe where it was poured over a sugar cube, and it was super fun. And it was actually really cool because I'm here for my great friend, and we have a bunch of people and this bachelor party, and then there's this random couple that I'm sitting there talking to that are chatting me up about absinthe. And then I'm trying absinthe by itself. I'm trying it with the sugar cube. And they are like, oh, can we buy a cocktail? And like my friend has to rescue me because he thinks like these are swingers and they're wanting me to be their third.
Oh.
And I guess I had that opportunity. I missed out.
Okay, I have a couple things. Now, was this this is the first time that you had absinthe?
Yes.
Okay, so that's funny because the first time I had absinthe was on a bachelor party in New Orleans. And it not really much of a story other than like, I didn't think it was good. Did you?
I enjoyed it.
I mean, they did it properly too. Like it was a show.
Yes. So I enjoyed it with the sugar cube, but I also, because I love flavor so much, that I wanted to try it by itself. So I tried it by itself so I can see kind of where the flavor was. I then tried it with the sugar cube, see how that was done, where they're just dripping it over. And then they do like the whole flame thing. I tried it in a cocktail. I enjoyed it, but I also understand why other people wouldn't.
Right. And we, being in New Orleans, like you can walk around, it's street legal to walk around with your glass from the bar.
Yeah.
You leave. So we were calling it road synths. We just had our road synth. Like, God, walking around with our road synth, going to the casino. I mean, it was a bad drink. Objectively, it wasn't good. The whole group agreed that this was not something, but we're glad we did it.
This is why this podcast is called Absinthelodeon.
Yeah.
Although if it was, we were talking about like the absinthe fathers in these shows.
It kind of works. And you guys are here to listen about whiskey, and you're also here to listen about some of these shows. And I think it's probably time we hop on into one of these. What do you want to start with, buddy?
Well, since we talked about absent parents, let me go ahead and bring up this podcast episodes of the Teddy Report.
The Teddy Report for babies.
This little stinker. Had him over. We had him for Easter, and I don't really get this whole thing where it's like, hey, you had Easter on Sunday, but this daycare's going to close on the Monday after Easter. It's like, are you hungover? Are we supposed to be drinking on Easter? I didn't get that memo.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now I know.
Are we not supposed to be?
I didn't know. Like I was in the Easter basket. I took him to church. Like I thought I did everything.
In the Easter basket?
I was in the Easter basket.
Can you explain that? What do you mean you were in the Easter basket? Like I picture a giant bunny carrying you around in a little basket.
So okay. So you reminded me. I got a couple stories.
We have to back up, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hit me, man.
So the story I wanted to tell is how kind of pushy my kid is. Like I love him, and we were spending the time doing this puzzle of a fire truck, and we were having a blast. He wanted to do it over and over and over again. It was super sweet. And then finally gets to the point where I was like, all right, well, now it's time for your nap. He goes, well, now I got to clean up. I'm like, okay, cool. He goes, well, you also made this mess. You have to help clean up. And I was like, okay. Like he is very opinionated, and I'm here for it. But like, who the fuck do you think you are?
I mean, that's a good. Maybe the way he said it could have been different.
Well, okay, he's going to be the kid. What I'm envisioning is he's going to be the kid going like, hey, this is also your group project. You need to pull your weight. Like, he's not about that bullshit.
He's going to clap back.
He's going
to hold people accountable.
And so society, if you're listening, you're welcome.
And watch out.
But now I got to bring in this other thing about the Easter basket.
Yeah, so confused and intrigued.
So the daycare that he's at was doing this Easter egg hunt, and so they have this whole thing. It's like, hey, if you find a golden egg, you get an extra prize. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And we're going through, and I'm trying to find the golden egg, but I can't find it. And so we're going through, we get all these other eggs, and so he's going to get candy. And then this kid comes up, he goes, hey, I got the golden egg, and he gets a cool prize. And then he drops the egg. I'm like, oh, hey, Teddy. And I grab the egg. I'm like, look, you also found a golden egg. And all I was doing was just wanting him to feel special. That's it. But then the other people were like, oh, well, then he's going to get this prize. And I was like, what? And so he gets this prize, and he's happy, and he's in love. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I guess up, but now my kid loves this. If I try to take it away and be like, I'm sorry, I was just kidding, all hell's going to break loose. So we're walking away, and like I'm telling my wife, like, hey, so it turns out I was just like trying to give him a golden egg. I didn't think they had an extra prize, and so I waited. I checked. I was like, hey, is there anyone else who's supposed to get this prize that isn't going to get it because I pulled this stunt?
Yeah, whose kid did I just screw over?
And there was no other kid. So I was like, okay, cool. But my wife's like, you have lied and you have stolen from the church? Like, it's, oh my goodness.
Okay, so we got to 10 pretty quickly.
We got to 10 super quick. So what we have decided is that, one, okay, first off, chill. But also, hey, let's just go ahead and get another Easter basket. We'll give it to the daycare. Hey, is there someone that you felt like didn't get to celebrate Easter? Here's an extra basket. But yeah, I have stolen from the church. What do you think about that, Sean?
Why are you asking me what I think about the very last part of that? That was the thing that you wanted me to take away? That you stole from the church?
No. Sure.
Do you want me to say I think the church has stolen from many others? What do you want from me here in this situation? What do you need for this story to have some closure?
I guess, did I do a terrible thing? Or was this just, hey, this kind of got away from you, and you made sure that no one else got screwed over, and it was fine?
I'm gonna go with the easiest answer here.
Okay.
But I also think it's possibly an answer that would help society as a whole.
Okay.
We should be judging people for their intentions, not necessarily the outcome. Okay. This doesn't always work, right? I mean, I think
this is true.
I think we should hold people accountable. But I think your intentions were pure. And I think you were trying to do the right thing. And in the end, some feathers were ruffled, which, wherever that term came from.
One person's feather was ruffled.
Just a feather? A sole feather was ruffled.
No, a sole bird was ruffled.
A whole bird just got totally ruffled.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you ruffled a bird. Sometimes in life, you're going to ruffle a bird, even though you're just trying to ruffle a church.
Yeah, but this bird I'm married to. Like, I have sex with this bird.
Yeah, Ty fucks a bird.
Oh, that's coming out wrong.
Well, it also goes in right. So what are you going to do about it? Well, I think the moral of the story is, and I'll quote the great Dr. Leah Sharnon, it happened.
That's the moral of the story.
The moral of the story is it happened, all right? Yeah. Well, I forgive you.
Well, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, come here. Let me put some whiskey on your forehead. The holy water. We do baptisms here.
Yeah, of whiskey.
Of whiskey. Yeah. Come on down to the Whiskeylodeon studio and get baptized.
I feel like that needs to be a shirt.
Yeah. Or
I got baptized by Whiskeylodeon.
Or baptized.
I got whiskeyized.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, we printed t-shirts way too early for this. But help us here. Join our Patreon. Join our Patreon? I don't know. Donate to it.
Do something.
Be a part of this community.
Be part of the party, man.
Yeah, be a part of the party. Yeah. Well, I think before we get started, we do have a little sponsor action.
We welcome any and all our brothers, sisters, and siblings who have decided to come forward in the faith. If you are here, it is because you have experienced the Holy Mash, the revered elixir of life, and have decided to dedicate your lives to the cause. We welcome you to take a leap into faith with the holy ceremony of the whiskey baptism. Let its healing and vitalizing waters wash over you as you become at least 80 proof. In the name of the bourbon, the scotch, and the whiskey, welcome to the Order of the Wonderful Barrel.
Yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum Whiskeylodeon.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Man, this show. When we started doing Whiskeylodeon parties, like, we were watching the show. We were trying to take bets. Like we had our favorite teams. Who was your favorite team?
The most losingest team, the Green Monkeys, and that they never won.
Yeah.
I think I looked that up. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure.
No, you're right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I was a green monkey, man. I dressed like a green monkey for Halloween. I'm saying it out loud. I don't like the way I said that because that would be like spray painting my whole body green.
No, so you just had a green shirt with the monkey on it.
Well, I had the helmet too.
Yeah. You were rocking it, man.
Yeah.
You were rocking it.
But I wasn't doing any obstacle courses. Was I?
I mean, you weren't with me, but I didn't know about elsewhere.
Well, how do you know I was rocking it if I wasn't with you?
Because I saw how tight that shirt was. I saw those nipples poking out. I was like, damn.
You saw the Facebook. So for those of you who are a younger audience, Facebook is a platform where you can also post pictures and words.
No, I was there, though.
I'm pretty sure you were there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I saw it in person, and then you put it on Facebook.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I mean, I felt like a winner.
And that's the moral of the story. It happened.
It happened. What was your favorite team?
I was all about the Silver Snakes.
See, the Silver Snakes now, they, alongside the Red Jaguars.
Yeah, the Red Jaguars.
Pretty much like top tier.
Yeah.
Like, they were doing it.
They were crushing it.
But here's my question for you, Ty.
Okay.
And you might not know this, because I don't. We both might not know this, because that's how that sentence just started. Did these kids get to pick their team, or were they randomly assigned?
Ooh, I'm pretty certain, like, you had people that wanted to be a team, but they were randomly assigned what team they were on.
Okay. And because, we didn't have social media at the time, so it's not like they would have picked, like, well, I don't want to be the Green Monkeys because they didn't win.
Yeah. And I also think that there may have been like some single people like we just want to play, and then they would just put in random teams, and usually it was the Green Monkeys, and
yeah, but we don't know for certain.
We don't know for certain.
Yeah,
that's all.
So if you do
conjecture.
know the answer to this, like, hit us up. We would love to know. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want to be a purple parrot.
Why? They were pretty good at winning too.
Yeah, I guess it's because like I like purple carrots more. You know, like those rainbow carrots.
I do like purple carrots.
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to like, get my appetizers and my teammates confused. People have this problem from time to time.
How'd you get into cannibalism? Well, I accidentally confused a purple carrot with a purple parrot team.
You have to go onto the temple without a fucking arm. How is that on me? You were supposed to be a purple carrot.
Oh man, they had some crazy teams because you had.
Yeah, let's go through them.
Let's see. You had the Silver Snakes. You had the orange? I thought they were the Red
Orange
Jaguars.
Iguanas.
Orange Iguanas.
Then you had the Red
right.
Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Purple Parrots, the Green Monkeys, and the Blue Barracudas. I know you're trying to look this all up right now, but I'm pretty sure I just did it.
Yeah, you nailed it, man.
Are we missing anybody?
We are not. I mean, you forgot to mention the Green Monkeys, but we already mentioned them.
Yeah, well, everyone forgets about them, unfortunately.
Because they never win.
They never win, but they always win our hearts. They had the dopest logo, though.
They did have the dopest
Green
logo.
and gold? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, silver and gold's fine, but like green and gold, they had the best match, and they just
couldn't do it.
Never pulled one, man.
Yeah. I don't know. Why is that? Do you think they gave it to like the most unathletic kids? Because in this show, right, you had to have a form of athleticism, a little bit.
It was athleticism.
Maybe like
it was also
15%,
intellect.
And then like, what, 85% intellect?
Honestly, no. I want to say 50% intellect, and the rest of it was athletic. Because literally, all you had to do was listen to Olmec, and he gave you the answers, and then you just like, oh, do you remember what I said? Cool, you get to pass.
And do you remember these tests that you had in middle school where it was like you had 20 questions, but then if you read the instructions at the beginning, it said only go through question number 5. So this was a test about, are you able to pay attention and follow directions, right? So
I have never had a test.
We
where
had
it's
this
like,
test.
Hey, you only have to go so far.
It was not like this was like day 1, right?
Okay.
We got into our trailer because that's where our class was.
In Canada.
Because, yeah, apparently I went to school in Canada, everybody. And so I'm in Canada. It's cold. We're eating our syrup from our nips. And
we go to class in a trailer.
We had to go to class in a trailer. But the first thing, it's a block of text. It's a very long block of text. It doesn't just say like, just do question 1 through 5. It's a paragraph. And the idea is that we don't pay attention. So we don't pay attention to this whole block of text. And we're like, okay, I just want to get through this test. So there's 25 questions. So we do all of them. But like question 13 is yell your name out very loud. But you wouldn't have to do that if you follow directions. So the idea with legends is that if you just listen to Olmec, you're going to get the question right.
Exactly. Now, my testing experience has been vastly different because it wasn't so much of, hey, only do this much, and if you do any more, well, you're dumb. It was an algebra class, and I also was in an educational trailer, not in Canada.
We'll call it that.
Okay.
An educational trailer.
Well, they wanted to call it a learning cottage. It was not.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't.
You don't like Learning Cottage?
No.
It kind of sounds like a website.
Because it sounds like Hooked on Phonics. Welcome to the Learning Cottage.
Yeah. Well, it does sound cultish, right? Welcome to the Learning Cottage. Come in. Can I offer you a glass of chamomile tea in mid-afternoon? You won't be sleepy.
But I remember I was doing this test, and literally, like, I'm going through the answers, and it's like A, B, C, D, D, C, B, A. And immediately I'm like, no, that can't be right. So I'm double checking my work. And then when I notice it, I'm like, oh. And now, because it's algebra, all you have to do is just plug in. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is it. And I was able to finish.
Code?
No, it was just, she was being lazy. She didn't want it to grade, so she made it an easy thing where it's like, if they don't get this, I know exactly if they got it right or not. And so I go through and I finish this test in 10 minutes. And I go to the teacher and I hand my test in, and she goes, you're not done. I was like, I think I am. And she looks at the test, she looks at me, and she goes, don't you say a word.
Wow.
Like,
Wait, was this like day 1?
Oh, no. This was mid-year. Like, this was just...
That's good. I mean, could you imagine that being day 1? And you're like, I'm setting the tone, Mrs. Teacher.
No, because here's the thing.
Also, were you a rebel? Why do I feel like you're a bit rebellious? Even though, like, you're the sweetest man I know.
Here's what it was. I rebelled against bullshit. Okay. So, like, I was very much following the rules like that. So, I guess we're going to go into my other, like, school fiascos.
Yeah.
This was also in 8th grade English and a learning cottage with chamomile tea in the afternoon.
Yes.
And a splash of lemon, my lord.
Oh, my lord. And so I literally get there as a teacher. It's like, oh, I got to go. And she locks the door. And we have to turn in, like, our project, whatever it was. It was some project. And, like, we're sitting there waiting. And then we get the bells like, hey, you need to be in your next class in, like, a minute. And I'm like, okay, this is taking way too long. And I don't want to carry this fucking project all over school for, like, 6 periods. It's really just 4. But still.
That really was, like, a thing we had to deal with as kids.
Yeah. And so I checked the doors. They both locked. I checked the window, locked. Checked the other window, opens. And so I ninja my way into the learning cottage and open the door, allow all these other students who are in line with me to put in their projects, and then I walk out, close the window, and I go to class. And we're totally fine. Until I get to English. And so the teacher's like, hey, class, who let you into this building or this learning cottage? And everyone just stares at me. And of course I own it. I'm like, it was me. And she goes, how did you do that? I was like, well, the window was open. So I climbed in and opened the door for everyone. She was mad.
She didn't love that.
No.
Yeah.
She told me I was breaking an entry.
Well, she's right, Ty, because like in order to get into a learning cottage, everyone knows you have to answer 3 riddles.
And I bypassed that.
You bypassed that. You probably tied up the troll out front too. I have to assume.
I know he was drinking his coffee. I snuck behind him.
Trolls do love coffee.
They do.
Did you bribe him with the coffee though?
No.
Not this time?
But yes.
Okay. Oh, are you a troll? That was a riddle?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, shit. And riddles were very much kind of a part of Legends of the Hidden Temple. Not really.
Not really.
Not really. Not at all. In fact, it's not even a good segue.
No, but I'm going to go finish the story and then we'll use that segue to go back in.
Yeah.
So I get like after
Sorry,
lunch,
I thought that you besting the troll was the pinnacle of the story.
No, I get put in a lunch detention. So I got to eat my lunch in the class. And finally she was like, all right, look, I just didn't want people to like steal stuff and whatnot. But just know, I could have called the cops on you. I was like, you can go fuck yourself. And I didn't say that.
He said that.
I wanted to. I didn't have the guts, but it was just very much like, no, that's fucking bullshit. Just get over yourself.
He said that.
Go, like, in the nicest way, go fuck yourself because there's some like sexual tension you got going on. I'm not interested. Take care of it. And speaking of taking care of it, let's go to Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah, he did it. See? This is why I work with Ty. He brings us full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Man, all right. So, Paramount Plus, why have you not sponsored us?
We're not sure.
But also, get your shit together. Literally, every episode has the same summary.
This bothers us a little bit.
Every episode has the same summary. Hosted by Kirk Fogg, this fantasy action game takes kids on adventures that test their intelligence, physical prowess, and determination as they search for legendary artifacts. Each episode revolves around a myth or story based on that fact.
Which is fair. That's true.
But that's like, hey, this is what the show description is. But then, like, at least talk about what the artifact is in the episode.
I guess. Yeah. But then again, I mean, I'll play devil's fuckhead.
Hi, I'm the devil's fuckhead.
Basically, you know when you're just gonna watch these episodes, like what you're getting into. Like we as 30-something-year-olds are watching these. As kids, like they didn't have these descriptions because they didn't give a shit. It was just Legends is on.
Yeah, but if you were like, oh, this episode's on Blackbeard, like, ooh, I want to see that. Like,
yeah, maybe at the time it was. We don't know.
We don't know.
I mean, we may have known, but we don't know. Unless we have known when we did know.
But who could have known what they knew back when they known what they knew now?
Unless they had known what they had known, then what they will know now.
Damn.
Wow. I'm a big fan of consent, but pretty sure we just blew your minds.
Sorry, not sorry.
Mm.
Well, we got some fun facts and some breakdowns. Real quick, this show was created by David G. Stanley, Scott A. Stone, and Stephen Brown. And now for some fun facts. You ready for this?
Yeah, bud.
Out of 120 episodes, only 32 players successfully retrieved the artifact.
So 32 out of 120?
Yeah, basically only a quarter. People won.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that feels right. I remember as a kid watching these episodes feeling like I walked away enjoying them, but I also don't remember a lot of champions.
Yeah, it was tough.
I remember a lot of kids getting kidnapped through the wall with
yes.
these bizarre dudes.
And you know what? Those dudes were actually stage assistants or writers on the show.
So they got roped in to be like,
they
hey,
just got
man,
roped in.
I need you to take off most of your clothes and put on these neon feathers and kidnap some kids.
Yeah, that's kind of a creepy thing to ask. But I mean, They got to make that money somehow.
Ty, I don't remember seeing these kids after they got kidnapped. Do you?
No.
Is that a false memory? Maybe they showed up at the end.
No, they don't even show up at the end.
What if the team won, which would mean we'd have to see 25 episodes, whatever you said. Do we still see them at the end? Dude, these kids got kidnapped. Where are they now?
Okay, yeah. If you have been kidnapped on Legends of the Hidden Temple, please reach out to us at whiskeylodeon.podcast@gmail.com or on any of our socials. And if we don't hear from you, we're just going to assume that no one ever found you again.
We're not going to assume that it's because we don't have that many followers. We're going to assume that it's because you're still kidnapped. But don't worry.
And if you see us out in life without actually knowing what we look like because we don't have video out yet, I need you to just blink 3 times consecutively so we know we can rescue you.
And we can by answering questions based off of stories that we actively listen to. Right? I mean, Olmec, right?
Yeah, it was Olmec.
What a voice. I mean, he was the show.
Yeah, he was like Kirk Fogg, sure, but no, Olmec was the star.
And we won't take anything away from Kirk Fogg. He was a great host.
Yeah, for what he was doing. Actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Olmec was voiced by D. Baker? No, hold on.
He's going to look this up. Ty delicately places his fingers across his trackpad as he types letters on his QWERTY computer. He has the computer that still has the red nipple in the middle. Why does he have that kind of computer? Maybe because he likes red nipples.
D. Bradley Baker. I was right, you son of a bitch. I don't know why I came that aggressive.
He came at me very hard there. Do you guys see what I have to work with?
But it sounded so nice. You weren't offended, were you?
I mean, the audio level sounded great. What you said really, really hurt me, Ty.
Aww.
I just feel like I'm going to have to drink more whiskey now.
You should take a shot.
I will. Actually, not much of a tangent here. I did a shot of whiskey this weekend.
Ooh.
After work. I don't like doing shots of whiskey.
Yeah, they're sippers, man.
They are sippers. Well, I said it, and I caught mild flack. Not a lot of flack, but I was like, do we have to shoot the whiskey? And it was very clear based off of eye contact that, yeah, we're going to shoot this whiskey. And I did, and it was a great time. But I like this podcast because we do heavily drink, but we don't heavily shoot.
Okay, let me ask this.
Yeah,
what whiskey were you shooting?
Well, it's going to be a local sponsor soon, so I don't want to say what it is. But it's here in Charlotte, and it was delicious. So
yeah, but why would you shoot that? That's such a good one.
That was my point, Ty. That was my point.
You should have given them the look as like, y'all motherfuckers.
I did. I said no.
I
said my piece. And
then you abandoned all your morals.
But at the same time, they were like, "It's Saturday night, you dumb bitch." And how are you going to argue that?
I'm not a dumb bitch. I'm just a bitch.
It's not Saturday. Fuck, it is. Yeah. So, here we are sipping our whiskey. We're talking about Legends of the Hidden Temple. I think we'll talk for a few more minutes about that, and we'll dive into our next show.
Yeah. So, a couple things. Otherwise, the contestants, they got to keep those shirts they wore.
Oh.
Yeah, so they got to keep that.
That's awesome.
Except for the silver snakes, because apparently they had to use like a special material to help the shirt show better on film. But they got a similar shirt anyway. So
like a semi-silver?
Yeah, semi-silver.
The gray snakes. The gray serpentines. Good for them.
Of course, we already talked about the Green Monkeys never won.
Oh.
Also, they had to batch film this show. So they were filming 6 episodes a day. 6.
Okay.
And so they would actually do it by section. So they do like the first section 6 times. And then the second section 6 times.
So you're saying each team, or like each batch of teams, would do section 1 and then go take a break. Mm-hmm. And then section 2, all teams would do their thing.
Yeah,
take
so
a break.
Everyone would do the moat crossing, take a break. Then the steps of knowledge, take a break. Then the temple game, take a break. And finally, the temple run.
Yeah. Wow.
And so oftentimes, like, you'll hear dubbing of a crowd, but they won't show the crowd because oftentimes there wasn't a crowd.
And at least as you get through each section, a team is eliminated. So in theory, they got through each section quicker.
Yeah, that should be fair. Yeah, that sounds right. In theory.
Yeah.
That sounds right, though. And this was because the production crew was from California, but the show was being filmed in Nickelodeon Studios in Florida.
Okay.
So that's why they had to batch it. It was a way to save money because they just couldn't afford to.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
It made sense, but it definitely, you got to stay a long day. And then Kirk Fogg has stated that after filming, the production crew would also try running the course too, sometimes after they had some drinks.
Oh.
They had some smoothies.
Well, so listen, we're doing a podcast with alcohol and Nickelodeon. We weren't the first to experiment with alcohol and Nickelodeon.
We were not.
Maybe just the first to talk about it.
We were the first to not get injured by it.
Actually, I don't know if that's true.
Oh, don't bring that up.
Well, just go listen to episode 4.
Episode 3.
Well.
Oh, episode 4 recaps. You're right. Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't injured. A little bit. I don't know if he hit his head on the toilet while vomit was coming out.
It was not a good time, man.
Listen, man, I'm not going to call you out like I just did. I would never do that in the past. Starting now.
From now on.
I'm never going to call you out. Listen, I mean, Legends of the Hidden Temple was one of my favorite shows as a kid.
Oh, absolutely.
It still holds up.
Same. Yes. Queen. Yes.
Yeah. And I think we could talk all day about it, but I know we want to move on to Double Dare.
Fair enough. Let's go into it.
And any final thoughts about this wonderful show?
I want to talk about how I wish I was on this show. It was kind of like a dream for me to like be on this show.
Me too, man. Dude, did they ever come out with like an adult version, like adults who were on the show as kids?
I don't think they did an adult version, but I mean, like you had like American Gladiator or something like that, where it's like, or the American Ninja Warrior.
Sure.
Like they definitely had stuff, but like that was just, it was kind of like, where in the world was Carmen Sandiego meets Nickelodeon? Like there was history, there was action. Like that's my jam. Like if you could stimulate my mind and my body, it is all yours, baby.
He's not lying. I've seen him have his mind and body stimulated, and and that's how his marriage happened.
Yeah, that's how I got married.
Yeah, it was a beautiful time.
Oh. What about you? Do you have any last thoughts you want to talk about on the show?
No, I agree. I think it's a show that if I could, I mean, we'll talk about Double Dare. And this show, though, really for me was something I looked forward to.
Yeah.
I wanted to be on it.
Same, man.
But I knew that it wasn't realistic for whatever reason.
Because you were going to be the Green Monkeys and they never would have won.
And I would have known that as a kid, being a clairvoyant child of the 90s. It was just something that meant a lot to me, man. And I'm glad that it was a show that existed, regardless of the prizes that you won.
Okay.
Even the teams that lost, like it was just something I enjoyed watching, like from start to finish. And I hope one day I'll still get to be on it. Is there still hope, Ty?
I want there to be hope. Because, like, okay, here's the thing. Here's a thought. I'm putting it out there. And if you are an organizer of 5Ks, hear me now. There is a 5K called the ROC race, the ROC race. And it's basically Wipeout as a 5K. So you got to go through these different obstacle courses that are inflatable, full of water, and like you can get knocked down in the water. And it was so much fun. Can you imagine a 5K Legends of the Hidden Temple race?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Oh, I'm here for it.
I am all here for it. So if you organize 5Ks and you are looking for the next smash idea that's going to get people to spend all the money to run it. There you go.
And I think the prizes should be vintage prizes.
And let there be people that can kidnap racers.
Yeah.
It'll make people run faster.
I guess. Yeah. And again, if you were kidnapped as a kid in the show, please contact us at the website that Ty said earlier. I'm Sean,
Email, but fair enough.
And this is Ty, and we're taking a quick break here on Whiskeylodeon. Have you seen this person? We haven't, and we need your help. We sadly live in a world where 1 out of every 20 kids go missing when they participate in the game show Legends of the Hidden Temple. These innocent kids are kidnapped by weird people in strange Aztec clothing and have not been seen since. If you or a loved one have participated in the game show, please, your help could find us these lost children who are probably in their 30s or 40s now. Please, think of the children and do what you can.
In the arms of a widow wearing strange clothes, children getting kidnapped. Whiskey, whiskey, Whiskeylodeon.
Oh, Ty. God damn it. So, we topped off our drinks
my gosh.
during that ad break. And I topped mine off first like a gentleman.
Like a gentleman.
I passed along the bottle to Ty. He topped his off. We're talking about how much fun it is. Like, we love our guests, and we also love recording with just the two of us. And Ty licks the bottle right on the head of the bottle, like around, like a 360 little tongue swipe. And
Okay. All right.
what happened there? Why did this happen?
I was pouring my whiskey and I saw it drop and I was like, ooh, I don't want to waste this. And I licked the bottle without even thinking of it. And then I look up and I see Sean's face in utter disgust and bewilderment. Just like, the fuck you just do?
I mean, like, it's fine. Like, I think the alcohol content will cleanse the rim as it does for all of us. But I was definitely bewildered. That is a good word for it.
Oh, man. Oh.
I mean, so if you're listening to this podcast, which I like to say a lot because, I like to repeat myself, you know
the sound
that
of his voice.
there have been times where we needed like an energy boost. So I thought that I would bring us something that would either give us an energy boost or it'll put us right to sleep. So Ty, I brought us something.
What'd you bring? Oh, he's reaching in his bag. He pulls out. I cannot... cookies!
It's cookies.
He brought cookies!
I brought cookies. Yeah, these are cookies.
Tell me about these cookies.
Well, Ty, I know you like cookies.
I do love cookies. I like them on the interwebs. I like them in my hand. I like to eat them as I try to wave my hand in hand. I don't know what else I'm trying to say.
You rubbed hand with hand 3 times.
Don't worry about it.
And no, I'm not worried about it. I liked it. So Ty, these are basically confetti soft baked cookies.
Okay.
Here, you will take the first bite, and you will tell me, Ty, tell me what you get from that. He's smelling the cookie. He's questioning the cookie.
Are these vegan cookies?
Why would I tell you that? Why would that be the first question?
Well, because I'm smelling something. It's not butter, but it's something else.
I mean, vegan butter's a thing.
But vegan butter doesn't smell like regular butter.
Yeah, okay. He's taking his first bite. He's nodding as though he doesn't want to offend. And he's shaking his fist as though he's a politician. And,
or Italian.
An Italian politician.
It's a really good cookie.
Oh, that's never a good thing.
What do you mean it's not a good thing? This is a really good cookie.
Oh, wait, I'm just going to try it right now, too, real quick. It is a good cookie. Oh, my God.
Right?
Jiggy, you can... Okay, so my little Ziggy Sebastius is in here.
And he is staring intently.
You can't have these, buddy. Okay, you can have the tiniest piece. Eat it. There you go, bud. He's the most delicate treat taker. He will never bite your hand. He will never bite your hand. This is a good cookie. Did I just ruin the rest of this whiskey?
No.
This is really sweet, though, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you remember, when we had the bourbon and then the rye, the sweetness made the spice pop out more.
Okay, so we're talking about flavors now.
Yes.
Like the Wheel of Six.
The Wheel of Six. So I'm going to finish this cookie.
It's a good cookie.
It's a good cookie.
It's actually a good cookie. Oh my. There's actually a lot happening here. Yeah, this is the part where Ty would ask me to explain the flavors, but I can't other than it tastes like sweet.
It has a butteriness to it without actually having butter in it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting flavor, and I really like it.
And to answer your question, yes, they are vegan.
I mean, I would be surprised if they weren't, but
that's fair.
Go ahead. Let's try this whiskey.
Okay, we're gonna try the whiskey after these cookies and see if it does anything.
Son.
Honestly, we should have been eating these cookies this whole time.
This entire time.
All right, we're gonna need cookie sponsors.
Yeah.
Right?
If you make cookies and you want to be sponsored on this podcast,
we're gonna try this thing out.
Yeah.
We're gonna introduce cookies to whiskey.
You know what we need to do?
What do we need to do?
We need to start doing pairings.
Okay, so like a light hors d'oeuvre.
Yeah, a light hors d'oeuvre or
with the whiskey.
Yeah.
So we're not already pairing the whiskey with the episode.
I think we can do it all. We could have had it all. Sorry.
And if you're playing along at home, you know what to do with that bingo board. Well, Ty, we could talk about these cookies and this whiskey pairing all day. In fact, I hope we will. But double dare.
Double dare. Man, let me tell you.
Tell me, bud.
We're going to start off first with just some breakdowns, some fun facts, and then we're going to go into how I feel. Because this was created by Jeffrey Darby, Michael Klinghoffer, D. LaDuke, and Robert Mithina. Mittenth, sorry. All right, so this show was Nickelodeon's first game show. This was also America's first kids game show. And this was Nickelodeon's first created and produced in-house show.
So, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That just happened.
Ziggy Sebastius just did two things. Let me take one step back. I just handed Ty one more cookie. Mm-hmm. As I did that, Ziggy just popped in, tried to take his cookie, at the same time knocked Ty's mic over. That was all in one
fell swoop. You're a good boy, Ziggy.
Yeah, he's very cute. So he does get away with some things. I'm wondering if he's wanting to go out of the studio. Can you? Yeah, we're gonna open the door. All right, buddy, you want to go on out there? Yeah, look.
Ziggy.
Well, of course, bribery works. We love you, bud. You got a treat. Don't worry. There's no animal abuse here, just love. Unfortunately, too much love sometimes. Ty, you've known Ziggy since he was a little handheld munchkin.
Oh, and he's been precious ever since.
I know. He should be on his own game show.
He should be. There should be a dog double dare.
Doggle dare.
Doggle dare.
Oh, my God.
No, double dog, because then there's two of them.
Well, that's like triple dog dare, though, right? Was that like the final...
No, because there's only two people on each team.
No, but do you remember if it's like someone double dared you?
I dare you. I double dare you. I triple dog dare you.
There it is. Yeah, see?
I remember.
Yeah.
I saw A Christmas Story.
Was that where it started?
I think so.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that. We'll get facts later.
Yeah.
Or we won't. We're not going to make promises here. We can't.
We will attempt, and if we don't, we tried.
See, this is why I need Ty to break down things very concisely for me. So this show, Ty, you mentioned was like the very first, are we calling it in-house?
Yeah, in-house show.
In-house show. And talk about what that means.
So this means that not only did Nickelodeon create this show, they produced it in-house. So if you think about it, there are shows where other people create the show and then networks pick it up and then they will run it. Whereas this one, in Nickelodeon Studios, they created the show and then produced it themselves. And this actually was originally created with Nabisco, who wanted a show to promote their brand. And so they decided on this game show. And then Nabisco backed out. And Nickelodeon was like, we're going to keep going with it. And then they went with it. And
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Really? Nabisco?
Nabisco.
Yo, they kind of ruled the 90s too.
They did. And they missed out.
Wow. I mean, they missed out big time.
Big time. Bigly. Like, they could have had it all.
Ty, they can't fill out their bingo board twice. Like,
I don't do it for them. I do it for me.
Fair. That's fine. That's fair. I can't argue that. I can't argue that. Well,
we also got to talk about Marc Summers, the host.
Yo, he was fantastic.
He was great.
He also didn't want to really be on a children's game show. He didn't want to be on a game show. He just wanted to be on TV.
No, he wanted to be on a game show, but it was not so much. He was like, "Hey, I want to interact with kids." But turns out Mark is actually a magician and a comedian. I didn't know that.
I can definitely see some of that.
So it's like he was like the '80s Justin Willman.
Well, did this show aired what, 91?
No, this aired in 86.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This show went from 86 to 90, somewhere in the 90s, 93 I think, but yeah, this started in 86.
And that's kind of like part of at least my experience with this podcast and with rewatching everything is I remember where things existed for me. And so therefore I assume that's where it started. Did you ever have any of that?
I definitely had someone who was like, I grew up on this show, and they're like, oh, this was in my parents' era. Ooh. I grew up on Scooby-Doo. That shit is old.
Well, Scooby-Doo's what? Late 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched the syndication. Didn't know it was syndicated. I just was like, oh, I love Scooby-Doo.
This is going to blow your mind, but
Tell me something that's going to blow my mind.
Did you ever watch Rick and Morty?
I have, yeah.
That show was actually invented in a different universe 2 billion years ago.
I actually suspected that already.
Yeah.
Interesting enough.
Yeah, I don't want to freak you out, but facts, science, those things are what they are.
They are. Speaking of facts, Mark's real name, is Mark Berkowitz. But he changed his name to Summers because he didn't want to be associated with David Berkowitz, the serial killer.
I don't even know who that is.
The son of Sam.
Oh.
Yeah, that was David Berkowitz. And he was like, I want none of that shit.
Did David Berkowitz go by the son of Sam?
Next time on Whiskeylodeon, learn about the son of
Yeah, I didn't really get into serial killer docs.
Yeah, I'm not. That's not my jam.
Thank you. I feel like the whole world is obsessed with true crime. Nothing against true crime podcasts or docs,
or even true crime itself.
They are so well done. They are so well done. But there hasn't been something that has roped me into wanting to be attracted to those stories.
The mysteries I'm into is how does this taste so damn good to have a confetti cookie pair so well with this rye?
I'm really confused by this. We should not, this wasn't planned.
It was not. And literally, I get the concept. It's sweet and it's going well with something spicy. It's allowing that contrast to really permeate and you can tell the difference.
I basically just dunked my cookie into my, without dunking it. I took a big swig.
It was
and then
Oreo
I ate
with milk.
Yeah, this is wild.
Yeah,
I'm so glad it's happening.
I'm glad it's happening on this podcast. Listeners, I'm so glad you get to be part of this. So if you get a chance, get some cookies, vegan confetti if you'd like, and try them with the right whiskey. And just let us know how you feel, because this is blowing our minds.
I'm looking for the brand, but all I see is confetti superb cookies. Oh, wait. Cybels. Cybele''S. Cybels.
Cybels, how have you not sponsored us?
You have an opportunity here. Please do it. I've only seen one 12-inch row in Whole Foods.
See, we don't want to.
Whole Foods.
We don't
How
want
have
to
you
team
not
up with
sponsored us?
Yeah,
I mean,
we don't want to pair with Nabisco because they're just going to back out at the last minute.
Are they still around?
Dude, they own Oreos. Of course, they're still around.
Okay. Oreo is pretty yummy.
Yeah. Oreo,
Wow.
how have you not sponsored us?
We're very confused about these non-sponsorships. Yeah, we've been around forever, if you haven't been keeping track at home. And you know what? If you don't want to sponsor us, it's okay. We like what we do. We like what we're doing. And we like what we're talking about today.
Oh, absolutely. And we are liking Double Dare. So I got to admit, I didn't really watch a lot of Double Dare. Like, by the time I started watching, like, I was into Legends of the Hidden Temple. Double Dare was kind of past my time. And by past my time, as in, like, I just never watched it. But it's a pretty dope show, man.
It's pretty wild. I mean, they have, well, maybe we should talk about the format of the show and how kind of like our reaction to it.
Yeah, so they start off with a little game. Whoever wins gets control of the board, and then it's like Jeopardy, where they get to answer questions.
2 on 2, right?
Yep,
We're talking about 2 on 2.
Mm-hmm. And they go back and forth. And the way it works is that you can either answer the question, you can dare the other team, in which case it's double the points, and the team can either answer or do a double dare and send it back for double that amount of points. And so the original team can either answer the question and may quadruple the original points, or they can take the challenge. And these challenges are wild.
They're not always that easy, and sometimes they're very awkward.
Yeah, like when you are blindfolded with symbols trying to break an egg, and all you can rely on is your teammate saying, now!
Right, your opponent is going to throw an egg towards you. You have 2 giant symbols. You're wearing a blindfold. And again, as Ty mentioned, all you have to rely on is the verbal cue of now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you close the symbols and, I'm putting it in air quotes, catch the egg.
And that's not the only one. I mean, we saw where they had to put beans in a hat with a bowl on.
And the beans were scarce. All right, they're curse.
They were
They
soupy.
were super scarce.
They were soupy.
They were quite soupy, too. Ty, when you eat your lunch meats, do you make sure that you get your soupy beans?
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, you have your soupy beans in this apparatus that is a bowl.
It's a helmet with a bowl attached on top.
Yeah.
And then you have your teammate who is having to pick up hot dogs with tongs. And even the host having trouble picking up the hot dogs.
Multiple times.
Dropping them on the floor.
Yeah, Mark's just like, I'm just going to pick up these little floor dogs.
These little floor dogs can go back in the grills. Someone's going to eat them.
Yeah. I asked Ty during when we were watching this, I was like, are they going to eat these?
No.
Which, good thing.
Good thing. And in which case, that this person has to take tongs and toss these hot dogs into a bowl. I remember seeing one where they had hamburgers, where there was like a hamburger glove. So they're basically wearing these huge hamburger bun gloves. And then they got ketchup, they got mustard, there's a burger patty in there, and they have to catch pickles.
With these smeared gloves?
With these smeared condiment gloves.
Okay.
I remember seeing one where it's like, hey, here is a cooler that you can get some lemonade. And here's a cup that you got to fill. And you can't just take the cup and fill it up. You have to take these small little spit cups. And you have to fill up that cup with your teammate that way. Like some of these challenges were wild.
With their spit?
I mean, they weren't spitting in them. They were just getting the lemonade in these small little cups, and they had to hurry and fill it up.
Just a reminder. We've been drinking.
Yep, we are drunk on cookies.
So there are some
rye.
things that have gone over my head, such as the lemonade versus the spit. But good thing we have these cookies.
And I think what really gets me, because you had that, and so you have basically 2 rounds where, again, you are starting, second round, you are starting with the game. On the second round, you're starting with the game. And whoever wins gets control of the board, and then they answer these trivia questions. And then whoever wins that gets to go on the obstacle course.
Are you suggesting there's an element of unfairness here?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because there is some strategy. Like, if you don't know the answer, you can dare and see if they will fall.
However, you have to assume that they will not get it, right?
You have to assume.
But that was never, I mean, these are kids.
These are kids. They're not that smart, but they could have been.
Could have been.
And you know what? I want to say they're smarter than the kids who got kidnapped by the warriors, the stagehands at Legend of the Hidden Temple. Again, if you were kidnapped, let us know.
Let us know. We're here for you.
Blink 3 times.
We won't even know how to decipher that. Where do we look, Ty?
Their eyes?
Yeah, good. That's where we look into their eyes, of course. Of course. Well, at least in Double Dare, there was no kidnapping.
Yeah, there's no
There
kidnapping.
were a lot of fun, mildly athletic. I mean, I think you're right when you said like 50-50, right? So we get to like this final round.
Yeah, the obstacle course.
Which that's why I watched the show.
Yeah, that was the best part of the show.
Dude, like the whole thing too was like, here's what happens after there's we'll say 8 rounds, 8 stages.
There's 8 parts to the
8
obstacle
parts.
course.
Yeah. So like part 1, if you get through this, you win this. So there was incentive this whole time through. And for me as a kid, even though I knew I wasn't winning these things, I wanted these kids to win these.
Their victory
Things.
was your victory.
It was, man. Like, I mean, we watched an episode just recently, and it was they won an NES by the end of it.
Yeah.
But the final prize, Ty, was a resort getaway. Mm-hmm. They didn't quite win that. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, these parents are fucking pissed. How much work did they have to go through?
And you know, that was the kid's pitch. That was like, hey, you have to take us to Universal. Why? Because Nick Lunastudis is there. Why do you want to go there? Because there's a contest I want to win. And if I win, you get a prize. You get to go on a resort.
However, it might not always work out that way.
Man,
now, Legends of the Hidden Temple had, you said, 25% roughly.
Yeah.
Do we know the stat for Double Dare?
I don't have that on hand. No.
I assume it's higher.
I mean, because here's the thing. You could see who got all the way, but everyone that got to that point was winning something.
Right. I mean, these kids are
they're
happy.
getting the money. And so, like, each question was like $10 in the first round, doubled, quadrupled, and the second round's 20, doubled, quadrupled. So they're getting money already. And then, like, they're getting, like, a skateboard with Mad TV on.
With Mad TV, yeah.
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 They're getting slime shampoo. They're getting, like, pretty weird stuff. And then they're like, oh, hey, but if you get this point, you get an NES. You get a color TV. You get a VCR.
Yeah, I remember Marc Summers saying, like, hey, you just want an NES. Just wait till the Nintendo Switch comes out. It was revolutionary.
It was
before their time.
Speaking of revolutionary, I gotta admit, we were watching an episode on Paramount Plus. If you're on it, it's the 151st episode of Double Dare. And they're asking this question. It's like, how would you write to President Ronald Reagan? And so the question answer was like, Dear Mr. President. And then Marc Summers out of nowhere is like, or you can say, Mr. Lame Duck. Like, what? What?
Yeah, the conversation I think we were able to get away with on national television was a little bit different than it was today.
Yeah, like at that point, like if that was today, you could get like canceled.
Yeah. I cackled though.
I cackled so hard.
Yeah, and I love that episode's still watchable.
Yes.
Why would it not be? I mean, maybe he was a lame duck. Oh no, did I say that on a podcast?
Oops.
Oopsie. I don't really know a lot about him. I also don't care. Because you know what? That's not what this podcast is about.
It is not.
But you know what it is about, Ty?
What is it about?
Mostly friendship. Reconnecting.
Yeah.
You know what we're going to do next week?
We're going to cover the documentary, The Orange Years.
We're going to reconnect on so many things.
Yes, that's actually going to be our season finale, guys.
It is.
So,
and I think we're going to wrap this one up and probably finish our cookie here with our whiskey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And it's going to be a tearful episode. So we'll save that
I
emotion.
hope it's not super tearful. Super soaker. If you call in now, you have won a super soaker. Oh, yeah. But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate these moments.
And my wife appreciates Marc Summers. That kind of took me by surprise. She watched an episode with me, and she goes, "Yeah, he was like 80s hot." And I'm like,
he was 80s hot.
Yeah. And we've already watched The Orange Years, and he's older now.
He's like a silver fox.
He is a silver panther.
Oh, yeah, that's better. You heard it here first. Well, it's been a good week.
It's been a great week, man. And I'm so glad I get to see you. I've missed you.
As do I miss you and these wonderful concoctions you have here. We're drinking one more time Elijah Craig something rye.
Straight rye, yeah.
Hey, I almost got it this time.
You did.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time we just bring this thing home.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being part of this party. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can email us. You can join our Patreon if you want to support us. There have been times where you're like, man, I really wish I could help them get better cookies or whiskey. Like, that's how you can support us.
We're better at talking.
Or better at equipment to talk into.
Or better at talking into equipment.
Or better glasses to drink out of.
Or better drinking out of glasses.
Or glasses to see what we're drinking out of the glass.
Or better glasses to see out of the glasses that we're drinking out of.
Or glasses to see through the glasses that we're drinking out of.
Yeah.
We love you guys.
We love you.
And I love you, Sean.
Ty, you got a couple words for us?
Bottoms up.
Did you just lick the tip of the bottle?
It was a drip. I didn't want it to drip.
You licked the tip of the bottle. Absolutely going to talk about this when we start this next episode. 100%. I had a whole other thing planned.